Welcome to another episode of the Bek Lover podcast, where you might learn a thing or two about life. I'm very happy today. I'm happy because the guest that I got on is a good friend of mine, and I finally get to hang out with him in New York and New Jersey for once. I got my man Lorenzo Antonucci in the house, straight fresh from LA, back on the East Coast, and I managed to get this guy in the studio. It's like, Lorenzo, trying to get you on the phone is like trying to get Mick Jagger on the phone.
No, come on. Bek, thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate the invite. It's good. It's great to see you here, not in LA. You know, I like it. I like being with my East Coast fam out here. You know, it's also good to be in LA because that's how we kind of keep it. You know,
I mean, listen, you literally just got back from Cannes.
Oh.
Cannes. How should people actually say
Cannes,
it? How do they
Cannes,
say it?
They say Cannes, Cannes, but I know.
How do the French say it? Cannes.
Cannes, yeah, Cannes. They don't pronounce the S. But I was in Monaco at F1. You know, Gordon. Shout out to Gordon Bijolanic. He took. You know, he blessed me out there. He showed me the ropes in Cannes and.
I mean, I saw Monaco. You guys pulling up to some freaking crazy boats, bro. They're not even boats. They were like cruise ships, bro.
No, they were both the two that we were, excited to be on, except, just to be welcomed on was there were 300-foot yachts, 150 to $200 million.
Can you say whose boats they were or not?
I don't want to say that because I don't know if I could.
But you got to have serious money to own that type of shit.
Yeah, they're billionaires. They're super wealthy. They were the 1% of the 1%.
Did you walk through those yachts?
Yeah, I went to
crazy.
One of my best friends and business partners, and two of my good friends actually, they both have beautiful 105 to 110 foot yachts. But and they're phenomenal to be in. I mean, it's just another level of luxury. It's a floating mansion. It's a floating mansion. But when you're on a 300-foot vessel, it's just a whole nother world. It's like you don't even know how to rationalize and wrap your head around how you got there when you come from nothing. When you come from a world of I gotta find out how I'm gonna get that bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich for $5 or $2.75 with a soda. That's the world I come from.
I mean, your life starts where, Lorenzo? Where did you start?
Jamaica, Queens, 107th Street. I'm still there. My dad's still there. I'm still in the same apartment that I was as a kid. The same room I was a child in. I still have it as my little office and bed where I could just keep my stuff there when I come from LA or when I spend time in Georgia or Florida. I definitely have my little spot in New York, but it's very humbling. So it's where I came from, and it's old, it's real, and it reminds me of who I am. It straight up does. So. And it's in the middle of, the streets that I grew up.
Italian upbringing?
More Puerto Rican. So my mom was from Puerto Rico and my father's from Naples. And being that my grandmother we were from East New York. And when I was born in Brooklyn, and the first couple of years we lived in East New York. And
East New York was a rough neighborhood, bro.
It's a rough neighborhood. Shout out to the East.
Pennsylvania Avenue.
That's exactly what it was on, Pennsylvania and Alabama. So we pretty much went from East New York to Jamaica in 107. My grandmother moved there. They bought a house in that area. My Uncle Toño, he had a house there, and then my grandmother rented there, and that's where they used to drop me off to get babysit. My mom and dad would work in Brooklyn. Your
dad was born here?
No, Naples.
So he's first generation.
I'm first generation.
That's what I'm saying. You're first generation, but he literally came from
My father came from Italy in 1960. He was born in 1932, so he was 28. And my mother came from Puerto Rico when she was 15 and moved to East New York.
So both in
Puerto Rico. Yeah.
And they met each other here. Mm-hmm. And the rest is history.
I'm the bastard because my mother was married, had my sister Pitusa, and Pito, and then my father was married and had his my sister Joanne and my brother Angelo. So I'm the only kid from my mom and dad together. So I got half brothers and sisters.
It's a nice combination, though.
Yeah. I'm lucky.
You speak either of the languages?
Yes.
Which one?
Both.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm. One better than the other. Spanish better than Italian, but
Spanish is more commonly used, I think. The whole country.
Well, that's the reason why I was more of a Puerto Rican upbringing is because my grandmother, my whole family lived there, and there was a whole Puerto Rican side. So I was raised with all my cousins, and my grandmother had 10 kids, so we had cousins everywhere.
So you were good. You were like an honorary Albanian, basically.
Yeah.
You had like 1,000.
A lot of Albanians. One of my childhood friends, Angelo, was Albanian. I remember he looked Italian. It's the same kind of world, Italians and Albanians.
Very similar. But you know what's nice for you is you had 2 different ethnic groups you don't want to fuck around with as your cousins.
Yeah.
Especially during those times.
Yeah.
What was it like, brother, growing up? I mean, listen, let's call it for what it is. Those neighborhoods, I'm very familiar with those neighborhoods.
Where are you from exactly?
Well, born in Texas.
Okay.
But didn't grow up there.
Right.
Family was in the Bronx, but for the most part on this side of the Hudson.
This is pretty much, this very same world we all grew
Edgewater,
up.
Cliffside Park, but Edgewater was really a rundown town up until about 25 years ago. It was all rundown factories. Everyone used to make fun of us. Now it's like Beverly Hills.
Yeah, well, hence Beverly Hills, what you said earlier when
Literally.
I pulled up.
So, we're gonna get to the fact that you're acting and producing and you're doing all kinds of really cool stuff.
I directed my first feature.
And so I want to get into that, but before we get to that, I always like people to kind of know like what it was like. So you grew up in some pretty dangerous neighborhoods. Let's be real. You had gangs. You had the mob was around in that time.
1,000,000%.
Did you stay out of trouble? Did you get in trouble? I mean, what were you like as a kid?
I was with
because it's hard not to.
Those neighborhoods. I never really went into details of my childhood upbringing, but I grew up with some people that are, let's just say, away forever. They'll never come home for things they've done.
So you had that around you,
like 10 of them that are still people that I grew up with. I mean, some of them I talk to them, some of them I don't, because of what they did, and it had nothing to do with me. It's just, the evil in them just makes you regurgitate them. You can't even look at them. How could you even, these are people I knew from when I was a kid, and one specific person who's doing 188 years, which you can't really do 188 years, but that's what he was sentenced. My father always said when we were kids, because we would, be on the rooftops throwing bricks at the train, the J train, you'd be in Knuckleheads, and we were always like do the sleepovers and all that when we were kids, 2nd grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. He always hated this guy. He never liked him around.
Felt the energy.
Well, once he was convicted, I said, Dad, how did you know about this individual? And he goes, you could see the devil in his eyes as a kid. So it's scary when, and my father is very intuitive. I mean, he grew up in World War II. He was 14 when the war ended.
How old is he now?
91.
He looks amazing.
Yeah, he looks amazing.
I saw you had him in the Rari the other day.
Yeah.
He looks like a man that's lived many lifetimes.
He has. And he has these one-liners that are just genius. And it's just because of his life experience. Not even because he's so educated. It's just the life he lived. And he says these things, even when it comes to drinking, it goes down so smooth, and then comes the snake, and I would always whatever. When I haven't had a drink in 10 years, but
I'm hitting 10 years this October.
Amazing.
10 years.
Oh yeah! Congratulations. Yeah. That's big.
I don't miss it at all, brother.
No,
at all.
No,
red wine for the taste.
Yeah, well,
but I heard
they have non-alcoholic ones.
You ever tried it?
Not the red wine, but I've tried the non-alcoholic beers. I have them once in a while.
I'm kind of like in the subculture now. I drink a lot of kava root. I don't know if you've had a chance to try it. You definitely should while you're in town. We should go get one. I love it. There's a lot of really creative people there, a lot of artistry, a lot of people that are in recovery. I drink kratom tea, although I try not to drink it too much. And I'm actually loving this new drink called Kin that I just discovered, and I believe Bella Hadid is involved in it.
Nice.
It's freaking amazing, bro. No side effects. I feel good instantly. If let's say you have like a little bit of an edge where you might have wanted to drink in the old days, I wish I had a drink because you haven't.
Right. You need some kind of
it's vice. Wonderful, bro. I don't really smoke weed or any of that stuff, so it's like for me, it was like it's nice because you miss the social component. And let's be real, in New York City, unless you're drinking, everything revolves around freaking drinking. It's like, I'm glad the cafes are kind of coming in now. They're not all Starbucks.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I love about Europe. People in Europe go to a cafe, have a cup of coffee, and talk for hours.
Yeah.
We don't really have that in New York City.
That's a good point.
It's all about alcohol, bro. And that's the one part of the European culture that I absolutely love.
I love Europe. I'm so proud to be a European citizen. I have my EU.
Yeah?
Salendo Campania. I'm an Italian citizen because my father never gave up his citizenship. So my father, being he was he always had a green card, and he was just a resident, pretty much. Which
it doesn't hurt.
Gave me the eligibility to get a EU. So I'm Italian citizen. I go through the borders like nothing. You know, when I land,
you use the EU passport.
I use the EU passport. Yep.
Shit, maybe I should get mine. The only problem is Albania's not in the EU. Yeah, they're getting there.
I'm sure
they're dying to get. They're in NATO.
Probably, if they're in NATO, I'm sure at some point it will be.
Yeah, they're giving them guidelines, man. What a wonderful trip it looked like you had, man. You went to some great parties. I think you went to Richie Akiva's party, no?
Yes.
I've been seeing him a lot lately. I've been going to the Ned. You got to come down Wednesdays too, bro. I'm glad that you're in town for a little bit. We got to go. They have a comedy show they do on Wednesdays at the Ned. It's members only place, but beautiful.
Wow.
And you never know what you're going to get with Richie Akiva. There's always some celeb that pops in.
Yeah,
Last week I was there. And
he does his thing for sure.
It's connected.
Yeah.
Robin Thicke just comes out of nowhere, grabs the mic and sings. I'm like, we didn't expect.
I seen him at Cannes. We were having lunch next to him.
He just came and grabbed the mic, which is what I really like about the Ned experience. You know, it's members only, really cool. It's beautiful. They run it the right way because it was formerly the Nomad Hotel. It's on 28th and Broadway. But Wednesday every night, Mike Young takes over.
Oh, I know Mike. I don't know him personally, but I know I've met him at Air One because I believe he lives in that area in Beverly Hills. He's a Detroit guy, right?
Detroit. Yeah, I think he's more in Detroit.
I think he was at Danny A's party. I think he was at. I just don't know him personally. I know everybody else there. Everybody else knows him that I'm cool with. You know? Cool
dude, bro. Real cool, funny man. You know, humble. You know, he was on tour with Bob Saget for a while until he passed. You know, God rest his soul. But yeah, we gotta go to the Net on a Wednesday night, man.
Bob Saget was the man.
He really was.
He was hilarious.
Guy was the opposite of what we thought he was as kids, right? Like the character he portrayed. But
I think he was what he portrayed in Entourage.
Exactly. Speaking of that, that's how me and you met each other.
Yeah.
Shout out
to Rob Weiss.
Shout out to Rob Weiss, our brother out in LA, one of the most talented, if not.
Yeah.
I think the most. That's my favorite show of all time. So I'm going to say the most talented writer in the fucking world. I don't care. I love all the other writers, and I hope the speaking of which, there's a strike going on right now, right?
Yeah, WGA strike.
It happens every couple of years, correct?
No,
sometimes.
It hasn't happened since 2007 or 2008. I think the Entourage days that Rob said they went for strike for 100 days. That was before my time in the business, so I wouldn't have known. I didn't know. But yeah, the strike is and
it affects everything in the industry, right?
It's affecting everything.
So when they, you know, and I gotta say, like with everything that's going on, I think another concern I think everyone has, even me myself as a podcaster, I just interviewed Vernon Reid. He was 66th best all-time guitarist, discovered by Mick Jagger. I wasn't an expert in that genre of music, but we had a conversation about AI. He's going to be at the New York University Music Conference actually in 2 days. I might be going also, and we had this conversation about AI. It might replace everything. You, me, actors. I mean, I think the writer strike is a little bit about that too. It's like, you know, how far is far enough? And if we change society that much, I don't want to just sit in the house all day, bro, and get a universal income or whatever the hell they call it. I think I came up with something, so I want to be on the record. I think if it goes that route where AI starts taking over acting and this and that, I think then what needs to be done is that it needs to be put, just like we have organic food, this is an organic art.
Yeah.
This was organically produced. It means it was human beings that acted in it. Yeah. It was human beings that spoke and not a computer. And I think that would be one way to protect the artistry of everything that all of us do.
The concern of AI is real, but my take on it is for VFX and stuff like that, or just coming up with an idea and being creative in a way that, yeah, it can write your story or write a script, it's still not going to be, you know, a person with heart writing it. So you have to sit there and edit it. It's going to expedite, make things faster. I think it'll help a lot with VFX and make.
What does that mean for us people?
Visual effects.
Okay, visual effects. Okay.
VFX will be, you know, easier to do for smaller movies. Independent movies are going to have the capability of making, you know, sci-fi look even more cooler, or making the backgrounds or shooting whatever you can shoot in these areas where you can't shoot because you just don't have the location. You could build it in this world. I think that that's cool. But what AI is never going to happen, what I think that AI, and I'm going to go on the record saying this, is that I don't think that AI is ever going to get accepted in the Academy Awards or get accepted in the Emmys, where people who have to work to get those awards and not a computer or a fake actor is going to win an Oscar. That's just not fair. It's I don't think the people that control the awards would, any of those, higher ups would ever allow that. I just think that makes no sense. And that being said, what's left is the realism of, acting and a director directing and being able to make art the way it is. It's all about the heart. AI doesn't have heart. Behind the art, behind the heart, the person creating the AI might have heart, but it's still going to be manufactured. So I think it's going to help in ways. I think it's going to help a lot of the hard work, but I don't think it's going to replace everyone like Uber replaced taxi. But that just gave those taxi drivers a new job. They converted those taxis into Uber cars. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that was an easy transition. But everybody think like, oh my God, it's taking over the whole taxi. There's no such thing as taxi only in Monaco because there's no Uber in Monaco. That was just hilarious how you couldn't get an Uber in Monaco. But
I gotta admit though, New York City though, brother, I'm hailing the yellow cabs more now than the Uber. It's still quicker. I think for New York, the yellow cab can still dominate. I'm tired of waiting for the Uber. If there's enough of the yellow cab, I'm always just and I'm out.
Yeah.
But in other areas, it's way more convenient. It can be more cost effective. It takes out a lot of the shenanigans. Of traveling, safety concerns for the most part.
Too many shenanigans in this town, in this world, in this business, and especially in Hollywood. That's shenanigators.
I wanted to hit a point on what you were saying about the AI. I kind of made a similar statement, and I think it's exactly what you're saying. I think what AI challenges us to question as actors, writers, anything that it can affect. But when we're talking about the arts, is what is the definition? I think by making this definition clear to the world of what art truly is how we protect. To me, my definition, because it's like if we're both looking at a picture, brother, what you might get from it might be completely different, my interpretation or whatever. And only the artist really knows what it was. And sometimes they let you know what it was and sometimes they don't. But for me, art is the human. We start with that word. The human expression.
Yeah.
And
that a computer can't do.
No, because it's like I'm seeing this and I'm kind of peeking into someone's soul.
Yeah.
When someone's doing that performance, like one scene that stands out for me is like when Al Pacino, even though it was my least favorite of the three, was The Godfather 3. But that last scene when he cries when his daughter gets killed.
Yeah, on the steps.
I fucking cried, bro. I felt something from that through a screen, which was... He drew upon something there, but it wasn't like he just acted that. He pulled something out of his fucking
experience.
Soul.
You pulled from experience.
And it was just like, killed me. It was one of the greatest crying scenes, I think, ever, in my opinion. But, AI, to me, for the art side of it, I understand if it helps with VFX and all this other stuff. But the expression of the human being, that's something that can never be replaced by AI. And I think it needs to be protected.
Yeah.
And art is can be a form of rebellion. It can be a form of expression. People graffiti in its simplest forms, even since the Roman Empire, when they go look in the streets of Pompeii, they found...
I've been to Pompeii.
Graffiti.
They found people leaving their names, drawing other people,
graffiti against the politicians. Yeah. Even back then.
2,000 years ago.
Yeah. And I guess we'll go off on a tangent there. I mean, I don't think it happened by accident, bro. Pompeii.
What, the Vesubio?
I think it was a punishment, bro. I'm sorry. They had more brothels in that town than they had anything else. Did they get into any of that? I've never been there, but did they get into all that or no?
I never heard. I was a kid when I was there. I was 11 years old.
Okay.
So I just remember how beautiful the city was and how still everything.
Seeing frozen dead people, literally.
It was insane. You see their bones sticking out of their toes and their elbow. It was crazy.
Their faces like that.
Yeah, you see like a mom, like a mother with her kids, or like a couple
fossilized.
In their bed. It's pretty wild.
But when you get into the history of it, it was a pretty. I just think it was. I think it was a punishment, bro. That's
the Roman Empire the Roman Empire was evil, man. I mean, it was an evil. They were evil, man. Towards
the end of it,
yeah, they were evil, bro.
Excess, bro. Like they say, you have too much of everything, and then you figure out creative ways to do crazy shit.
Yeah.
When you lived in New York, were you acting or
never?
So what did you do to sustain before you became an actor? Did you work at all in those years?
I was in a band called Sworn Enemy, and we toured the world for 10 years. So I was always an artist.
So you've always been in the arts.
Yeah, we got signed to Elektra in 2002. Our first record came out in 2003. We were touring from like 2000 until 2009, and when I left, but I did that my whole life. I worked at a body shop, Pete and Joe's Auto Body, with a person who's like my father, who's my father's best friend. He's my second dad, Joe Broccoli. He raised me in the body shop, started me with the broom. I was 14. I didn't want to go to school. I dropped out in 7th or 8th grade, whatever it was, and I went to work. And I bought my first guitar by doing that, and then that led me to travel the world at one point.
Do you think that starting to work at an early age probably kept you out of major trouble in your life, kept you kind of away from the nonsense? You had good working people as mentors.
Well, the people that I grew up with taught me common sense. Was I don't want to do that. I'm raised by, better parents, or not. Let me rephrase that, because it's not the parents' fault all the time. But to some of them, yes, their parents were awful people. I don't have to mention names, so it doesn't matter. But
that's why I say, like, even when you see someone that's done horrible in their life, sometimes it's like hard to like judge people. You don't know what the trauma they've been through. They don't know how to handle it. So like, there's some sympathy. Yeah, I would say you have to have some mercy in your heart, but it's hard when they do some of the things they do. But like I say, you don't know what someone's been through, man.
No, you don't, and that's the reality of the world we live in. And when I would see my friends, one of my best friends and dear friends did 6 years or 7 years in jail for something he didn't do. He was convicted for robbing 2 women, because the suspect was a Puerto Rican with an orange cap on. He had an orange Columbia jacket on, and they bagged him, and he was already on parole for something else.
6 years.
And he got 6 years. And I went to visit him at least once a year, and I did the bit with him. I would take all the phone calls, send the money, whatever I could to help. That and the other people that have gone for life since 99, 98 that I've known since I was a kid, all that was, I got in trouble. Of course I was a knucklehead, I was in the street, but I never got to that level, and I always wanted something more, and I always knew that I had a better heart, or I had more quality in life. I had beautiful family behind me, that everybody that was always doing something positive. And that, my mother was a lady who cleaned the Queens County Courthouse. That's what was her job. She was a maintenance lady there. My father was making suits, and on the side he was a tailor at a factory, and he made some, between my 2 parents, they made $600 a week. I mean, how do you live on that? That's two people. So I had to go to work to make, I don't know, $150 a week at the time, and that's how I survived, and that's how, I was forced to get up in the morning. So I couldn't be out all night, even though I was out all night, but it would keep me from making my dad mad. you know, and I never wanted to break my mom's heart. So that's what kept me from the knucklehead shit.
You know, the world that we live in, you know.
Yeah, later.
Why it's important, you know, why it you know, especially for boys, man, they need that male role model, man. They need that positivity. They need that, I don't want to let this guy down. I don't want to let my dad down, my uncle, whoever is raising them. It can just be, you know, foster parent, whatever it is, to have that positive. I think boys need it, man. Otherwise, we do go off the charts. We feel maybe not desired or not loved, and we need that guy that's like, yo, I got your back. You're young. I love you. You got to be good. Life's going to be hard. It definitely gets hard.
I agree.
And I think part of the problem that we're facing in the world today is that there's a significant lack of strong men in people's lives. The divorce rate, you know, again, these are my opinions, not yours. You know, a lot of marriage, you know, people not getting married, just having kids, and they don't, you know, if you're not living together, you don't have what we call the nuclear family, right? So I think that this is all affecting society, and they've done studies on this. You know, most violent crimes are committed from single-parent homes. It's a fact. It's not something. It's not something we can sit here and debate. It's a fact. So clearly, you know, to do an effective job, we need both parents, man. And if they're not married, at least co-parent. And I feel like there's a lot of that lacking.
Yeah, if you got no love, you got no love to give.
You don't know what it is.
You don't care. You know, if you're not loved, how do you love somebody if you don't love yourself? You know, like you're just pure evil. You know, you don't know anything. You know, so it's hard to, you know, judge these people because I mean I grew up with them and I know that what their parents were like. You know,
foundations weren't strong.
The foundations were horrible. You know, drug addicts, crackheads.
They were maybe being abused themselves, beat up or hit or whatever.
You know, doing the most nastiest things you can imagine to get drugs. You know, I remember seeing it. You know, and their own friends would sell the drugs to their friends' parents. Or they would sell their drugs to their own mother and father. I mean, it's just, I've seen it all.
You've seen the bottom of society, brother.
Yeah.
And you came out of one of the worst neighborhoods. You know, I had Mike Dowd on my show. Mike Dowd was the most infamous cop, the 7-1. He was based in East New York, right? He was the corrupt cop.
Or 73rd.
Yeah, great guest, though. This guy can. So he's all over the papers right now too. He walked into one police plaza, and he wasn't there to create any chaos. I forgot what he posted some picture in there. Now they banned him. They put him on the front page of the Post again. They're like, you're not allowed here. He's like, well, I'm probably going to sue you guys because I am a citizen. I'm paid my time. I'm allowed to walk into the police plaza, right? So what? Because you were in jail, when you come back out, you can't go to the police station and say, I need help? I mean, I feel like, you know, having friends and family that have gone through the system, I feel like they really do just set you up for failure when you get back out, man. You're not allowed to do this. Not allowed. So how the hell are you supposed to get back? You paid your time. You paid your dues. How is someone supposed to be productive if you're forcing them back into the swamp? So it's like it's a failed system.
And I just bumped into one of my dear friends growing up. You know, he's one of my brothers, you know, and he just came home and he's my age and he's like, this is who I am, bro. I was like, yo, you need to, he's like, bro, this is who I'm always going to be. You know, jail doesn't bother me. I go in, I come out. When it's winter, I go in for just to get it so I don't got to buy a new winter coat. You know what I mean? It's sad, but that's the upbringing. And I grew up with 30 different guys like that, you know, that are either in forever or in and out forever, you know, and they don't have any concept of, you know, why you are the way you are, and then when you ask them why are they that way and how can you want them to change, but then you just got to know that you just can't do anything and you just got to keep it moving because, you know, I think that they could be anchors in your life. So those anchors is what kind of guides you not to be in these predicaments.
The problem with some of these people, and I've had plenty of them in my life too, is that maybe, you know, you're trying to be positive in your life. Yeah. And you know, and I know that you can go down even if you're not doing anything wrong. Mm-hmm. Your friend went down for no reason. Yep. And just for being in a picture and you're not even doing nothing and just someone that you grew up with and they think that you don't like them or you don't love them because regardless of what they do, your boys are your boys. Yep. But they need to understand also that, hey, I can get in trouble just by hanging out with you. and I'm trying to do something more in my life.
Guilty by association.
And it's real.
It's a real thing.
So I like the fact that, you know, knowing the time period you grew up in East New York, knowing
I grew up in Jamaica.
In Jamaica.
107th Street, yeah.
But still, it's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's walking distance to East New York, so it's not. It's really.
Those areas, brother,
they're all the same. But East New York is definitely way. East New York is its own world. East New York and the Bronx are like two different worlds. They're their own worlds of New York's world. You know, it's like you could tell somebody's from the East, or you could tell somebody's from the Bronx immediately.
And just from accents.
Just from accents, just the way they walk and.
But but it's starting to change, man. Even the accents now, I guess, with all the different groups that are moving in, and Manhattan doesn't even sound like they're from New York anymore.
I met a bunch of people the other day that weren't even from, and they were like, "Oh, I'm from Ohio. Oh, I'm from North Carolina. I feel like I'm in LA." And I feel like an outsider here.
So you got to do basically 9 years of your musical passion.
More.
You toured. Yeah. You made a living.
9 years of professional.
What was it like, brother? Were you drinking during that time period?
Oh, yeah. It was a disaster.
It was crazy.
It was the best time of my life.
All over the world?
Everywhere.
Europe, this, that.
Europe, Japan, Russia,
and
Ukraine.
The music was classified
Canada,
as what genre?
Heavy metal, hardcore. Yeah.
So it was just straight hardcore.
Yeah, straight hardcore.
Mosh pits, all that shit.
Yeah, everything.
And you were what in that band?
Guitar player. And I wrote most of the music and did backup vocals. I would have my own moments of singing, kind of like Biohazard had two singers, but I had a similar vibe that I had my own little moments where I would come in singing. Well, not singing, screaming. I wouldn't call that singing, but
you want to
yeah, exactly.
Like that?
Yeah, just the crazy.
You think I could do it, guys? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that music too.
Yeah, it's great for the gym.
I know gym, and I know all the wrestlers will play that kind of music before they come out to matches.
Yeah.
So you've always been in the arts. You've always felt an artist. So how do you end up in LA, and how do you start getting into the rooms with people like?
Speaking of wrestling,
Sylvester Stallone, Joe Pesci. I mean, I've seen you meet. You were at dinner with Cher last month, which was what an amazing video that was. When you went like this with your phone, and I'm like, my man's sitting next to Cher right now. I was just like, I think I'm looking at it's just watching your Instagram, which by the way, we're gonna put that all up here. Like, you guys need to follow my man. It's like watching a reality show, and what I love about it is because I do know who you are. I do know how you fought to get where you are. I know how positive you are. I listen to your videos. I love it. You're very motivational. You work like a beast. You put me to shame as far. You look younger than me, even though you're older than me. And I'm inspired by you in a lot of ways, my brother. And I'm glad that I got to meet you. Shout out again to Rob Weiss, the whole family, O'Neill, my big Russian brother. Nathan.
Yeah.
Everybody, man.
Yeah, love to everybody.
I'm definitely coming to one of the legendary.
I appreciate your kind words, man.
Definitely coming to one of the legendary lunches at Craig's.
Oh, hell yeah. You're more than welcome.
Thursdays.
I have +2s. Now.
Hey, at least a couple times.
+2 or +3.
Hey, a couple times when I went there, they with the camera for a quick second. The pop like, who the hell is this guy? They saw the jersey plates. They were like, I was like, wow. They probably thought I was like a Tony Soprano stunt double. So when did you go out to LA?
2013. I was told by a former partner to come to LA and become a wrestler. Pretty much. When I was living in Austria, I had a recording studio back and forth. I was in Austria and New York, and I was recording bands in Austria. And he was asking me, "What did I do? What have I been doing? How you been?" And he used to be my agent for my band. Long story long, I turned into a wrestler. I moved to LA, and
so literally for wrestling.
Yeah, I trained to get the tryouts for the WWE, but I never went for it because I hurt my neck. Shout out to my who's my mother's cousin, who's like my uncle, is Jose Estrada. He wrestled Hulk Hogan, the Rock's family.
That name is, I remember from my childhood.
Yeah, Los Boricuas. That's my blood. And I got on a call with him, and he was like, "You're crazy trying to become a wrestler at 35." He goes, "I started at 21, got on TV at 27." He goes, "You got a long haul," and that kind of gave me a little bit of not a scare, but it just didn't. It took the wind out of my sails, and I was like, I got to find something else. So my friend Joey.
But you're in LA now.
I'm in LA.
You already left. You moved.
I have no idea what I'm doing in LA. I'm going to training school for wrestling, and I'm like got long hair. I'm big. I'm like jacked, 250. Like everybody's like, oh, you can be like the Triple H meets The Rock from Queens, and Italian, Puerto Rican, blah blah blah. You speak both languages, And then I came up with this, bing bang boom, you're done, boom. You know what I mean? Some like that was my slogan or something like that. I didn't do it properly, but that's what it was kind of. And my name was Lorenzo, the main event, Antonucci. Or when I was a heel, Luscious Lorenzo. We had stupid names. So we were coming up with stupid stuff for, that's the wrestling world. I mean, I don't want to say it's stupid names because it's funny. It's good. It's good for the world and the humor. But I was training with a kid named Joey Gayton. He's a good friend of mine, and he was my roommate at the time. And he was getting these checks in the mail, and I would check the mail, and I'd look at this stuff that said SAG. And I give it to him, and he'd open it up one time, and he's like, "Oh my God, I just got $2,200." I'm like, "Well, from what?" And he's like, "Residuals." I'm like, "What's residuals?" He goes, "I'm an actor, bro. I was on 2.5 Men or whatever it was." I said, "What? You're an actor?" I didn't even know. I had no idea about acting. I was just like, I play guitar, I drank beer, and now I'm a wrestler and I would lift weights. And if I had to go make money, I was working construction because that's what I was a carpenter. I knew how to do that. Shout out to Paulie. Shout out to Dave Herbison, everybody who looked out for me in those days when I needed to work.
In LA?
Charlie. No, in New York.
Yeah.
Those days, he said you would go and kill it, just get your headshots and go start acting, bro. You can go, I could introduce you to some managers, and I was like, what? And this was 2013. And I started to try it out, and then I fell in love with the business. But, from there, I just been nonstop pounding on it. And it's been hard because I had to see, I was 35 or 36. I think the first movie I did, I was 37 years old. I was like, and there was kids already 27 blowing up, killing it, destroying it, driving, everybody's, Instagram influencers now, and everybody's on, and I'm like sitting there like, damn, bro, I'm like long ways back. This is brutal because it was starting a whole new career path.
Did you draw any inspiration from people like Morgan Freeman, who started late? Like,
yes.
How did you keep yourself?
Morgan Freeman was my biggest inspiration because, yes, he started at in his 40s. He was, and so did Samuel L. Jackson. Was 42 when he did the shot, and when he did the scene in Coming to America. He comes in with the shotgun and he robs McDowell's.
What advice can you give anyone that's trying to be an actor, whether they're young, older? How can you save them some time, though, in their life? Like, what pointers can you give them? What's the first thing they should do? Besides taking acting classes, which is the obvious, what would you do? What nugget can you give back to these people out there struggling?
Man, I mean, it's a struggle any day for any actor because even when you're doing great, you got to stay great. So it's a struggle. Even when you're killing it, like DiCaprio, one of the best ever of all time, and he's got to make sure he stays the best. So he's got to be picky on what he does. He can't just do any movie. He's got to be very picky on his roles and what he picks. And that's a broad example, And
that's a process in itself because it's not just do I like the screenplay?
Yeah.
Who else is in it?
Who's directing? Who's opposite me?
What's the budget?
Who's the producers? There's everything.
What flexibility will I have on it if I don't like something? So there's a lot of different things that go into it. I don't think people understand.
That's a struggle, and being, on that top of the game, everybody would love to be there, right? Or everybody would love to be where, Chris Hemsworth is, or Channing Tatum, or anybody with like Jake Gyllenhaal, or just be where, with John Travolta's, obviously the King of Kings, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold, anybody, The Rock, killing it. Like The Rock is, just killing it. Everybody would love to be there, but to get there, they had to put in 1,000 hours a day. And I don't even know if that makes any sense because it doesn't make any sense, but that's how it feels when you, and I've been noticing that that's what I've been doing to get further and further is just nonstop grinding. And so I think to anybody who's starting out, it's, you got to be in the mix. And if you're not in the mix, you're just in classes. You got to be in classes and in the mix. You got to learn how you can, utilize what's best in your heart and your capability as a person and what you could give to people and be a person that people want around. Not a taker, a giver. Be a giver. Be there for people that are doing way better than you. Give. Buy the coffee. Pay for the meal. That's my advice.
So networking is probably the most important thing.
Well, I hate the word networking. I think it's
But you know what I mean? Like
I don't
opening
mean hate
doors.
It, but yeah, the networking just sounds like it sounds.
You know what I mean?
But no, I know what you mean. But I want to go on record by saying networking to me sounds very artificial, programmed, fraudulent. Like it's a fraud. I'm being an imposter. Oh, I'm going to go to this event so I can network. No. I don't. To me, I'm just like, man, I'm going there because I'm gonna be in the mix. I'm gonna be somebody people want to ask questions, or I want to ask questions and just connect with people that I like organically. If they're a janitor, if they're a person in the bathroom that's got their candies and their sprays, and I'm talking to them and they got a kind heart, and that's somebody I want to have a conversation with, I'd rather have a conversation with them than someone that I'm gonna network with and be like forcing a conversation. I'd rather things always be organically. And that's how I've been able to build my relationships because I don't ask nobody for anything. I try not to. It's very hard. It's very hard. And I just try to do everything I can to never be I try to do everything I can to never be in that position of,
asking for a favor.
Asking for favors because everyone that's on and doing great, everyone around them is asking for favors, is asking for something, is wanting for something. So, you got to be close to the people you ask for a favor that's not going to be troubling them. And you got to know that you got to deliver on whatever the favor you ask them so you don't make them look bad. Relationships are everything. Protecting your relationships are very important, in my opinion.
And it's not just in this industry, and I've spoke about this many times on my show. We go through hell to develop these relationships. And this is what people don't understand. But it's so easy for you. You can just ask. Like, no, I can't just ask. Because I vouch for you. You don't do what you're supposed to do. Not only did you not move ahead with what you were trying to do, but you just cost me what might have took me years.
Yep.
I spent millions of dollars, bro, in the nightlife. Entertaining, taking care of people, never getting much back in return, bro. But always taking care of everyone else. To get people like, well, how did you meet Rachel Ray? And how did you get this? And how do you get to hang out with this singer and that singer? And how do you friends with all these people? It wasn't even that they were celebrities. I didn't care. And that was, I think, the first thing. I didn't care that they're celebrities. Like you said, because what I'm gathering from what you said is being authentic, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to treat you the same whether you're famous, not famous. If I like you, I like you. If I fuck with you, I fuck with you. I don't care who the fuck you are. If we're real and we connect, we connect.
Yeah.
You know?
And you got to be able to compartmentalize that and know the difference of like, you got to let the people that you would love to be connected to gravitate towards you. You know what I mean? So you don't feel like you're imposing them because everybody is imposing. These imposters, they're imposing. They're thirsty and the thirsty shit is gross. And it comes off so gross that people are just like, they push that away and they can sense it a mile away.
It's like if you're friends with a writer and they're writing a film. Why even? They know who you are. If you're the right person for the part and they think you're the right person, they'll fucking reach out to you. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what I think is the right way to do it, right? Is what you're saying. But just going back to like the core essentials, and this I think to me is like, you try to open doors, right? I look at people as gateways, different dimensions. You meet someone and the whole trajectory of your life can change. Like I might be going to the Ukraine at the end of the month, bro. I don't know. We spoke about it. I'm not going to get into which person, but people you've seen in the last couple of weeks on my feed. And that might change literally the whole trajectory of my life. A great way to finish my documentary. I haven't cut the film yet because all this crazy shit keeps happening. Meeting you guys for me And for people to understand, I didn't know nothing about LA, bro. The first time I went to LA, first of all, I burned a shitload of money because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I thought I was cool. I go to the Beverly Hills Hilton. I rented the penthouse. Not a single person walked in that door, bro. I had a penthouse for no reason. I sat there like an asshole. I didn't know what to do in Hollywood, and I didn't understand Hollywood at all. But that summer when I met you and Rob and all the guys, I just want to thank all of you because you guys really, you guys are my LA family, bro. Like, I knew nothing about LA. I didn't understand how it worked. Rob having patience with me. I think I drove him crazy a couple times asking him questions that may have seemed a little bit like, you know, what the hell is this kid? But for me, it wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to do so. I just
wanted education.
It's just interesting, man. Yeah. I'm here already. How does this all work?
Yeah.
You know, like, what does it be to? I've always just been fascinated by people, what they do for a living. You know, I'm not an actor, but for me, it was like, well, how does this all like? It's just I watch these things on TV. Entourage for me, brother, is beyond the fact that I love the show. I fucking love it with all my heart because it gave us that glimpse into it.
Yeah, it taught you. Entourage was very educational for me.
I love the show. It brought a good glimpse into our lives about what it's like to try to make it, to become an A-lister, what goes on behind the scenes, agents, Ari Gold, all that. I feel gave people a very realistic look into, I mean, and now that you've lived all those years, I mean, would you say that that show was pretty accurate to kind of what goes on in that world?
1000%. It was everybody from the business that's been through hell and back, writing it, producing it, directing it, acting in it, you know, based on Wahlberg's upbringing, how he came up in this game and what he's been through and his, you know, his crew and his friends and everything. I mean, I started watching Entourage after, you know, because I always knew there was a show about Queens, and I wasn't obviously on the show, but I never acted, you know, I wasn't even acting when the show ended. I wasn't even acting when the movie came out. I was just starting. So it was educational for me to watch the world of how the agencies operated, the managers, the studio heads, the friends around. Everybody's like, you know, the Johnny Drama. Shout out to Kevin Dillon's my man. My boy, he was the best character ever created for television, in my opinion, and I think Nikki C's opinion. He's hilarious, and he was, you know, you know, hit him like, yo, where's my role, bro? You know, like, yo, Vince, is there gonna be a role for me, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the epitome of every friend, and that's just the way it is. You know, and I've said that to my friends jokingly too. You know, like, yo, let me read for something, bro. You know, throwing it out there. But it's always in good, you know, with people that you're family with, you can say it in a way that, you know, hey, if they, you know, let me read for something. Let me read. That's a good thing for actors. Do not say, yo, is there a role for me? No. Is there an opportunity for me read or can I audition for something that I might be right for? That's a good, you know, sound bite or whatever. You know, that's a good quote. You can use that, whatever suggestion or, you know, if anybody, you know, wants to, you know, take my advice and try to utilize it, do not ask in ways that ain't imposing, you know, like where you are like, hey, man, I would love the opportunity to read and show you what I could do for a character you think that I might be a good idea as a backup. If you don't get your main TV guy or your A-list guy, maybe I could read that guy. That cop role, I would love to read for it. You know, because at the end of the day, you're not asking for much because it doesn't cost them anything. It doesn't, you know, you're not imposing. You know, they'll be like, sure, we'll have our, you know, have your team reach out to your casting director. Or if you don't have a team yet, like, I'll tell my casting director, what's your email? Done. You know, like that's small, easy ways to navigate the business without, you know, making people feel like, man, I got to have this guy around every time. I can't even tell him I got something cool happening because he's going to be jumping down my throat for something for him. He's not going to be happy for me. He's going to be happy for, you know, for what can come for him. And that's the problem. And you just got to be happy for all your friends and know that your time is coming. Patiently waiting for a track to explode on, like 50. Shout out to 50, one of the best to ever do it in hip hop and
in film
and beverage and in TV and movies, crushing it.
Genius.
Clothing. He's a genius. And we're from pretty much the same neighborhood, and I would love to meet him one day. And and would love to work with him, or just to talk to him, because he's
fit.
You know, he's definitely one of the guys that I can compare myself to in a lot of ways, as just far as, you know, the upbringing.
And what was around you, what could have pulled you down completely.
Yeah, you know. But
the dangers of life.
I never got shot, but my friend got shot in front of me. You know what I'm saying? And that's reality. I was 16 and he was 18. And he passed away from cancer. I love him. I miss him. But that's the reality. He got shot in front of me. So, but he didn't, you know, it wasn't brutal, but it was brutal enough to
Still
be
scary.
a child. It was scary, you know. And it was friends of friends. A neighborhood. People that we all grew up in the same neighborhood was always a conflict too. So these little things I can, you know, pull from, you know, where I feel like I have the similarities. But that's a lot of anybody that's a kind of like that was raised in the streets or whatever and doesn't have an education and dropped out of school and blah, blah, blah. But good heart, you know. And I know a lot of people that are friends with him, and they say he's a fantastic human and got a great heart. So shout out to 50 for what he's done in this business, and, you know, being from the same area in theory, you know, it's a very motivational thing.
And very few people can branch out the way he has into so many different industries and succeed. You could say, oh, he got lucky with this or that. You can't even say it. But my point is, people could, haters, right? Haters can say, oh, he got. But when my man does it in more than one industry, you got to show love. You gotta have respect for it.
6 shows on the air right now, airing. Boom, 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 and about 15 more set up and like 30 more in development. You know what I mean? Like, you can't.
Shout out to Sean Ringold, my boy. He's been in a lot of his stuff, a lot of his productions.
Yeah, so yeah, you know, like a lot. Shout out to my guys on Power. My man Toby, he's on Raising Canaan. Just became really, you know, good friends with him. My brother Michael Martin. He's a writer on Power Ghost, and Sammy Horowitz is a writer on Force. And they're all, you know, good friends of mine. And Sammy's another cigar smoking. He's always with Rob. You probably see him on all the Instagrams. He's an ex-fighter. He was in jail. You know, he's definitely a great, I guess, inspiration for people who have done time and come home and become better people. You know, that's another one. For
me, meeting you guys, like, you know, my brother that passed, and I say my brother because people don't understand the relationship I had with this man. He was my uncle, but he was literally my brother. Mm-hmm. And when I lost him, I lost a big part of my life. It took me years to recover from that. That's how the whole comeback team thing started, because I never realized, like, just how one life can really. I understand how people fall into depression, can commit suicide. Like, I get it, man. Like, when you lose someone that's that important to you in your life, you feel exposed, you feel naked, you feel, how's life ever going to continue? Fear seeps in, you know? So he loved Entourage, bro. My brother, when I say, like, my nickname, he was like the Vinny Chase, bro. He wasn't famous as far as acting, but like in New York City, he was the king of the city, man. He owned a nightclub right in the heart of Times Square, and I mean, he gave me the name Bek Lover, right? So for me, it was like I lost a big piece of my life.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
So, and he always called me drama, like, you know, I'm like the dumb little brother in his mind, you know, like the one that, you know, the little fish that follows the shark. And when I got to become friends with Rob and you guys, you know, for those of you that know, Rob was, you know, one of the writers on Entourage.
Rob Weiss.
Yep. So when, first of all, Rob even welcomed me into his circle. That's how I met you and everyone else. And for someone that knows nothing about Hollywood, nothing about LA, you know, to have that type of, you know, to have you guys, for me, was, I don't know if you guys even understand, man. It just, I felt like, wow, I finally have, like, people that are cool with me. They're taking care of me. They're showing me the ropes. They're making sure I don't make a fucking fool of myself. And showed me mad love, man. And so for me, it was emotional also because of how much my brother loved that show. I felt like when I was with him, and I explained this to Rob too, I'm like, for me, it's like my brother would be proud right now.
Right.
Not only am I in LA, it's not like I'm
excited for you.
He'd be like, you're with the guy that wrote the show that I love, that he loved. It was his favorite fucking show. He loved it. So for me, it was like a circle that was closed. Like I was like, I haven't given up, big bro. And not only did I give up, but I'm with the people that wrote the show that you fucking loved, and they're friends. And it's like I'm you know, the least seen character in this real version of it, but I'll do whatever I can to always help you guys, or vice versa. And I fucking love you guys. And I hope fucking Rob gets out here one day and we can have some fun. I'm glad you're in town for a while, and we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're both sober will keep each other out of trouble.
Yes. Well, trouble is definitely, to those of you who love to drink and, you know, find yourself in trouble all the time, there's a problem. Stop drinking. But if you can drink and be fine and live a good life, and you don't harm nobody, you don't put nobody in harm's way, and you're not drinking and driving, getting twisted and doing dumb shit, then if you can handle that, then have at it. But if you got a problem and you're definitely waking up with those text messages or those like, what did I do last night, and why am I in jail? Like, what did I do with my car?
It's time to stop.
Time to stop. Give it up.
Waking up next to Bertha.
Give it up. Give it the fuck up.
And you know, you think, I won't be able to have fun and this and that. I'm having just as much fun, I swear. So, and I'm, you know me.
I hit the thing.
It's okay, don't worry. I'm out every night, Lorenzo. You're out every night.
I'm exhausted. I ain't gonna lie. I'm exhausted because I've been going hard, because I've been putting myself in the mix.
Jet lag.
And I just came in from London. I was in Paris. I mean, I was in Monaco and Cannes, and then London for 12 to 15 days, coming from LA to there to here.
Now, you had a project there. Is that why did you go to Cannes? Besides being in the mix.
Yeah. I'm a man of purpose, right? I want to be somewhere if there's a purpose, right? I don't like to just go, and you know, that's something that I don't find attractive or necessary or productive. I'm all about being productive. And a movie that we did in Jersey called Jersey Bread was being sold there, and I'm one of the leads, and I'm a producer on it. So
is that what goes? So explain. Let's always take it from the perspective that people that are listening or watching have no idea how the game works, and most of us don't, brother. I didn't know how the game works.
So there's two versions of what Cannes is, right? Cannes is obviously a film festival where all these like elite films, like I don't know if elite's the right word, but like these great artsy films with these huge or just new up-and-coming directors or up-and-coming actors or big actors or independent movies, or they either get in competition or screened, you know, for the first time. They screened like the Killers of the Flower Moon, which is Scorsese, De Niro, and DiCaprio. So they'll screen like movies that nobody's seen yet, or there's movies in competition to win the the Cannes, you know, awards or whatever the award ceremonies are for them. And then there's the market. There's the market, which is held in the same hotel where they premiere the movies. And that market is pretty much where independent films are sold. So all these different sales agencies and distributors go there to sell movies.
Is it the most important gathering you think for film? Is it?
I think Cannes is probably the biggest.
And then what, number 2, Sundance?
Maybe Sundance and Berlin.
But that's what these types of things are, right? So basically, if it's not made from the studio, like Universal or whatever, if it's independently made with whatever money, however they do it, they then go there and say, hey, you want to distribute this for us?
Well, there's two things. What you can do is you can submit your unfinished movie or your unreleased movie to Cannes. All right, you submit it. If they accept it, now you're in competition as, you know, any award ceremony, you know, for best director, best actor, best producers, best picture, blah, blah, blah. Cannes is that, that's one of them. But then there's the market where you can sell independent movies. Like our movie was in the market. Jersey Bread was in the market. It's pretty much like a sales agent is, I mean, how do I phrase this without making it sound low grade? It's, say we have 15 cars that we want to sell. We open up a little lot and put them on the lot, and these are the prices. You know what I mean? Like, but they put them in this like boots, or these bigger boots, or they take a whole hotel room and they have all their movies in there, and buyers come in and see, oh, how much for Bulgaria? We'll buy it for Bulgaria, or we won't buy it for Bulgaria. Here's an offer. And that's how they sell, carve out all these territories to sell. I think I'm phrasing it right. I'm really not educated as well in sales agencies, because that's not what I do, but that's what I think is the base of it.
Very important gathering of the entire film industry of the world in one location, with all the A-listers, everyone that's in the industry, filmmakers, film buyers, huge distributing
parties,
companies.
Huge events. Everybody is there.
It's all industry, man.
It's all industry. And I was in some parties that, again, that it was very, very hard to get into. And I was lucky enough, to get in. Gordon, Ali, would get me into the Richie Akiva stuff. Like he didn't know me, and yeah, we're all New Yorkers, but I'm the new guy on the block. So these parties were, exclusive, and I don't want to name names, but I mean, there were just the 1% of the 1%, and the A-list guys are all in there, and you're just like, how the fuck am I in here? Wow. It takes you back, because it's like, I know what it's like to not be able to get in the room. I know what it's like to not be able to, feel the love, or feel like I'm accomplished or I did anything. But now that I had purpose to be there, I just directed a film. I was showing the teaser around, sending it to whatever people that would even care to have a conversation. You directed something? I want to see the teaser. I have something that I can show. Oh, my movie's being sold here. Glass House is selling our movie, and that's the hotel at the whatever, the Regal, whatever the hotel name was. I forgot which one it was, but and then I've never been here. So, I wanted to see what it's like. And then to go to Monaco, F1 was just a whole nother experience, just a whole different level.
It's an amazing thing you did, brother. You got to go there to pursue what you're going after in this world. You got to see the F1. You got to see Monaco. And you got to go with someone who's basically like a brother to you. Yeah. Looked out for you.
Yeah, on 1,000,000%.
Open doors.
Yeah.
And this is where I tell people, when you're authentic, and after a while people see the true nature of your heart. And it's not just, what can I get? What can I get?
Yeah.
When they see the chance to help you, and they feel like, I love helping people, bro.
Yeah.
My problem is maybe too much. And sometimes I leave myself on the back burner. And there's the other side of that, right? When you help way too much and you forget yourself. On my 40th birthday, I swore I would be selfish, because I'm not getting any younger. I got to make some moves now for myself.
I know the feeling.
But when you find these people in your life, these are the ones you hold on to, brother. People like Gordon.
Yep.
You hold on to them, and you never forget.
We all help each other. Everybody that's done something for me, we've done a lot for each other in the past, and we've always, been that way, and always look out, how can we help each other? How can I do something for you? How could you do something for me? And not I'm going to do something for you to get something out of it, but that's what the conversation is. Oh, I got you. I'm going to take care of you on this. Oh, that's perfect, man. We appreciate the opportunity.
And I always say,
repay you with this.
If they're ever authentic, they'll say, hey, you know what? I remember what you don't even have to say it.
Yeah, you don't have to say it.
That's when you know.
It's left unsaid,
And that's when you know you're with a real crew. And those are the people you hang on to. So just to recap, and then we'll move to the next thing. In a nutshell, based on everything you went, because you went there not knowing anyone, knowing anything. What do you think the most important for someone moving to LA that wants to break an industry? What can we do to maybe point them in? I feel like a lot of people were lost there, bro. When I was hanging out in Hollywood, I was like, everyone's an actor, everyone's this, everyone's that. People were contacting me that have lived in LA for years, pursuing
and I have no clue at what to do.
And I'm starting, I didn't realize, brother. Like I said, I'm not in the industry. I don't know. And they're like, how are you hanging out with this guy? And how they see me like, Rob, I've been trying to meet him for years. And I'm like, realizing like, wow, I'm really lucky. I mean, I'm not an actor or anything like that, but they were blown away because, like you said, being in the mix, you know, but my intentions weren't about that. We met organically. Everything that happened was organic. It wasn't, oh, I'm trying to be an actor, let me go after this guy, that guy. It started with authentic feelings, friendship, discussion, fun.
That's the best way to do it. My advice is...
So what do they do first? Try to find it. Like, basically what I want to do is summarize it. Do they have to find an agent for, like, what are the steps, just in a nutshell, that they should do automatically off the bat to get the ball rolling to try to pursue a career in acting or filmmaking? Besides the obvious, just go to film school or whatever. What does someone do if they have no experience, they know they want to be an actor?
If you're an actor and you don't have any connections, try to become PA for short films, for...
What's that mean?
Independent, a personal assistant. Small, it's like you go get the coffee. Be a PA. That's my best advice. Go be a PA, because you'll meet everybody in the mix, and you can say, I'm an actor, you know, like, you know, and I'm working. Working in the industry that is going. It's like you know, starting off as in the mailroom at CAA, then you gradually grow up. You know what I mean? Like starting at a PA in any of the industries, like TV or film or commercials, you're starting as a PA, you meet everybody. And then if you're a good person and you give and you don't ask and you just, you know, you're there for everybody, whether, you know, you put in free work for free. Best advice, work for free, because it comes back. Put that in. If you're a PA and if you're an actor and you're going to classes and you're doing the regular, because going to get a manager and an agent, you're going to find people that are going to be like they got to believe in you so much that they got to sit there and want to make $10 for every $100 you make. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work for them. So you got to do a lot of the groundwork yourself. And that's the hard part.
You got to show them the promise that you're worth spending time on.
Yeah, and having an agent and a manager and all that is key once you get to a certain platform, you know, because they can't help launch you if you have no credits, if you have never done anything. You have to earn that stuff, and and it's even hard for me to get. You know, I just signed with Sovereign with Anthony Robles, you know what I mean? Like he, you know, and Peter Young, like those guys, you know, they believed in me. The first thing they sent me out on, I booked NCIS, last episode ever for now. One of the biggest TV shows on CBS. The first thing I booked was that show. First thing they sent me out on. So it took a long time to get an agency behind me. And I've been working. I mean, I got a lot of credits. I got 14, 15 movies that just came out. You know what I mean? And 5 of them are in post-production still. So...
And 10 years of grinding, brother.
10 years of being brutally punched in the face. And that's the reality. So you got to be able to go and start at the bottom. PA... background, if you want to meet other actors that are like in the mix and they're doing background, and then you know, that's how you can start, you know, hopefully get your SAG card, you know, get
it's hard to get a SAG card, yeah.
Very hard if you've never done a movie or you've never done a commercial. You gotta work like 3 days consecutive or a certain amount of hours to get Taft-Hartley'd, and then once you are SAG eligible, you got to pay like $3,500. So for an actor who's not making any money, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
So they have payment plans and stuff like that. But still, that's the best advice I can give is start at the bottom. Start in the mailroom. The mailroom is PA. The mailroom is, you know, being a driver, working for free. Work for free. You can't afford me? I'm here for free. Be a personal assistant. Be an intern. Intern for a big director. Intern for a studio. Intern for CBS. Intern. Because you will make connections that way. Not sitting at the cafe or working at the bar thinking like, hey, man, I'm an actor, man. You know, and not even getting a co-star in 10 years. Because you need to be around the people that are going to, one, like you as a person. Nobody wants to work with people they don't like. If you're toxic, nobody's going to want you around.
It's a couple of big celebrities that went down that way. Their careers are nowhere. We won't mention their names, but I've read the stories. They were unbearable to work with.
Yeah. So that to me, it's like, you know, we all get tired. We all have issues, no matter what the parameters are, no matter what how relative it is to. Everybody's got problems with bills. Everybody's got this. Everybody's got that. Nobody wants to hear your problems. We all got them, no matter what. So don't come in with that energy. Come in with positive, smile. It's the best, laughing is the best medicine you can ever, use. It's the cheapest medicine. It's the best. Laugh. Be someone that is a joy to be around. Don't be a Debbie Downer. I ain't getting this. Crying about things. Nobody wants to be
a man. Be a man.
Yeah, be a man, or
a strong woman.
Be a strong woman, and be strong in whatever you are in. All good, but just do it from a place of kindness and a place of authenticity. Do it with confidence, and do it from a real place. Don't make that manufactured or fabricate that or be an imposter that way either, because people will sense that. Do what you can for what you're worth, and give your best in every way you can.
How do you stay in the game mentally for 10 years, brother? How do you stay positive, man? Like you're going out, like you weren't going out, like, and I know I'm going to see you do your thing. I truly believe in what you're doing and what you're going to do, because you're just too hungry, and I think you're undeniable. I think by the grace of God.
Appreciate it.
But 10 years, to stay in the game that long, a lot of people give up way before that.
Yeah.
2-3 years. There must have been dark moments.
Oh.
How many times you ever question, should I keep doing this? What the hell am I doing?
I never questioned it, because I don't have another place to go.
So once you made up your mind, that was it.
Made up my mind. I know
you burned your boat, as they say.
Yeah, I don't have any questions to ask myself anymore about this business. I just got to just know that it's so hard, and it's a lottery when you win. It's a lottery. It's very hard, so you got to just get in there and give it your all and pray for the best. Expect the worst.
I've seen you in a lot of shots with Sly. Worked with him? You've done stuff with him? Or
I help. Well, that's from Nicky Cardasco, who's his partner in the Sly Stallone shop. I helped them a lot with the
awesome stuff, by the way.
Yeah, the shirts is great.
Do they got for my size, bro?
Huh?
Do they got 3X?
Yeah.
They got 3X?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
For I'll call it the Uncle Paulie size.
Yeah,
right?
they got all the great Sly, of the Rambo, the Rocky, the memorabilia they have, all the stuff is phenomenal from the years of all his amazing work.
What was it like the first time you met him?
It was with Rob at Grand Havana Room. Me and Rob met him because Nicky was there, and Nicky came and introduced us to him and Avi Lerner. And I was just with Avi Lerner in Cannes. We were on the boat on the way to the one boat. We were on the tender to the other boat, and we were talking. And he was like, "You got to come with me to the thing." I was like, "Yeah, I met you with Sly," and and he was like, "Oh, that's the Sly. Oh yeah." He's he's a legend, Avi Lerner. Millennium Films. He meeting him was a dream come true. It was awesome because he was awesome. Shook your hand, looked at you. How are you? Cool. And then, the guy showed me a lot of love. It's just, I'm a lucky guy to be be considered a friend.
And I felt like that too many times in my life with some of the people I've become friends with. Some of my friends are the biggest pop stars in the world. And, I was in my darkest moment this year. I had a really rough year, not to get into my personal life, like really bad year. But all of a sudden I go viral, or I meet this, I feel like God throws you these little alley-oops, man. Even if nothing comes of it, it's like just a boost in morale, man.
Yeah.
So, to have the relationships you have, some of the things I've made, these things I think really help you keep pushing forward.
I call them injections of inspiration. They're little injections.
But I don't think they're random, and I don't think they're by accident. And I do believe, yes, hard work, but I also believe in destiny. And when you start to believe that you can do what it is you're going to do.
Yeah. I'm starting to, I feel like I'm at the cusp. It's coming. I feel it every day now. It took a while to get here, but, I feel it. It's still a struggle. It's not like the best, scenarios to be in when you still got to fight for every little thing. But I'm going to claw my way to the top that I can. I'm going to do whatever I can to get there, with a good heart and good intentions, because I've gotten here and I've never done anything wrong. So I'm in a good place.
You made a great video on your Instagram the other day, and I had the pleasure of meeting your friend. That time we were at Craig's, and I didn't, I didn't realize, you know, he was very humble. I'm like, man, you look so familiar and this and that. And he was like, nice. He shook my hand and everything. Then I see you guys leaving the Rolls Royce, and I'm like, oh. And then you told me later, it was like, that's the guy that founded.
He's one of the co-founders of MySpace. Ted Danick. Yeah.
Really chill guy. And then I saw the video he posted like 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And you're like you're in the car with him. You know, you're in a beautiful Rolls Royce. You're cruising through what looked like
one of 33 made, like
right off Sunset Boulevard. It looked like,
yeah.
And you said, listen, you know, and that's what I appreciate about your, you know, yes, I know you're a professional actor, you're a producer, but I also really do enjoy, and my audience would be foolish not to follow you. I do enjoy your organic content, you know, for social media. And you said, you know, like, you know, you're not embarrassed to say, I'm not the smartest guy. I haven't always been the smartest. I'm not smart, but I know I'm smart enough to know.
To be the dumbest guy in the room.
To be the dumbest guy in the room. I'm with this guy, and you see him. It's the guy that founded, you know, MySpace. So, like, that video for someone that's in the motivational world, because that's what I consider myself, someone that tries to inspire people to not give up. I think it's brilliant content. I hope you continue to do stuff like that, because I don't think you realize it inspires me, brother.
Thank you.
Because I need that's
you
my
inspire me too, man.
That's my boost when I see, okay, I see my guy, he's doing his thing. You know, there's a lot in common building these friendships, and you know, so please keep doing that also, because don't sleep on social media, brother.
No, I try not to.
I think you have a lot to offer the world in that aspect, and I hope people that listen today understand kind of what it's like to leave New York, leave everything, chase, you know, the dream. 10 years, up and down, all kinds of different things. You're in the rooms with the right people right now, brother. You just got back from Cannes. I'm excited about your future. I can't wait to see what you do next. I'll leave it one last thing. If you had to say anything to anyone that's listening right now, you know, I don't know what's the hardest thing you've ever been through, and I don't know if you feel like even talking about it, but can you give me a time you were going through maybe the worst time ever in your life, and how you think you got out of that?
My mother was killed in a car crash in 2004.
That's how I lost my brother.
It's the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. And I don't think I could ever go through something as worse unless it's my own child, God forbid. If I have kids, I want kids. But, yeah, that was the roughest and most toughest thing I ever went through in my life. And it still crushes me every day. But that moment, man, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. On the worst person in the world, I wouldn't wish them to go through what I went through if they love their mother. But if you're a horrible person, you don't love your mom. It's just, you're not a good person if you're...
In normal situations.
In normal
situations. There might be some mothers out there that, brother,
they
shouldn't have been mothers.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a similar experience. I mean, brother, you know, and I always tell people, I don't care how old someone's mom is. She could be 110 years old. Mom is mom. You know, that's, you know, the thought of me losing my mother has brought me to tears many times in my life.
Brutal.
Just the thought of the day when I lose her. I'm blessed to still have her. But, you know, do you remember, I mean, how did you find out? If you don't mind me asking. Was it a phone? I found out through a phone call.
I found out from a phone call. Well, me and my ex-wife, Jasmine, were at the bar down the block from my house, and my mother was in Puerto Rico. My father was at the hospital. He just had spinal surgery. So my mom was with my cousin's mother, which is my aunt, Audia, and they were in Puerto Rico visiting my aunt who lives in Puerto Rico in my grandma's house. And my phone rings, my cell, and it's from my landline in my house, and nobody's in my house. And I'm like, what? So when I pick it up, it's my cousin Tony. And he's like, get home now. I knew my mom was dead. He's like, get home now. And I knew it right there. That was it. Because he wouldn't be in my house. He lived all the way in Brentwood, Long Island at the time. He wouldn't be in my house in Queens on Jamaica Avenue. And I haven't seen him in probably 6 or 7 years before that.
And you still don't know until you get to the house, right?
Oh, I didn't know until I got to the house.
But that panic.
Feeling, yeah, the panic was.
So for me, I get to work. My aunt calls me. And she's like, get to your brother's house now. I say my brother again. It's my uncle. People don't understand that. I cannot use the word uncle.
Yeah, you guys were raised together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and he was everything to me. He was my Vinny Chase, and I was his Rama. Like in that aspect of brotherly, So I remember, you know, I already knew. I already knew someone was dead. I knew most likely it was him. She was like, just get to his house. Nah. I just got to I remember being flabbergasted. Like, how do I clock out? Like, I was like already lost. And then I'm in the cab. My cousin calls me and he goes, she's dead. I lost my fucking mind, bro, in that cab. I feel so bad for that cab driver. The poor guy. Again, I've apologized many times. And I'm punching the roof and I'm going fucking crazy. And it took years to get back up, brother. Years. And so, again, it's hard to talk about these things, but I want people that are listening to understand, if you're hurting right now, you lost somebody. We have too.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so easy to give up. But I always challenge them with one thought, and it's probably a thought that entered your mind too. What would your mom have wanted at that time of darkness? What would my brother tell me if he could? What he always told me: don't give up.
Yeah, never.
Life is hard. Don't give up. And we continue on in our lives, and you've turned your life around tremendously, right? You had, I guess, drinking or whatever.
Yeah.
You went through some dark times. You could have been pulled into it. So the bottom line is, life is a war. You never give up. Battles are lost as long as we don't lose the war, brother. I always say, when that clock runs out, what side of life was I on? The positive side or the negative? So
I want to be on the positive. Only positive.
With
no
that
negativity.
said, I got my man Lorenzo. We're going to have him back again. I can't wait to see him and the rest of the LA crew out there. Please follow his social media. Show my man some love. He's one of us on the East Coast, but we're all American at the end of the day.
Yep.
This is the Bek Lover podcast, where you might learn a thing or two about life. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Love you,
Appreciate it. Love you too, brother.